Good evening and salutations, my Y&R fans. So, let's talk about the Audra and Tucker scene. I've been saying this for a while, and so I'm sorry for repeating myself, but Audra is setting up all these meetings with these different figureheads off screen because, why bother to sit there and show us any of that? And I'm just like, what title did you give this chick where it became so much of a problem that you had to fly all the way down there to Paris to try to get this, try to sit there and put this chick in check. But anyway, he goes to her room, which, by the way, I love the trip to Paris. They play all the Paris kind of music and everything like that. It's like, oh, they're in Paris because they played that music. But, he knocks on the door. She's super defensive. They talk for a little bit. And it's kind of the same talk that they had before. On some level, I understand where she's coming from, or at least I'm trying to. I'm not just saying it makes sense, and it is a little bit selfish, but at the same time, she's tired of being treated second. She's tired of always they're coming in second. You know, first it's with Ashley, then it's with Devon, and for all his misgivings about Ashley, they're saying that he's over her. He seems like he puts her first. When she needs something, he's there. And just that whole back and forth thing, she was just tired of that. Then Devon, who treats him like dirt until he needs something. And then he drops everything, drops their plans once again to sit there and does what he asks. And she feels like she is an afterthought. So she's like, I'm tired of it. Now, there's many different ways you could sit there and look at this, right? But just coming from her perspective, that's where she's at with him. So he tries to plead with her, being like, is this really how it's going to end? This, that, and the third. And she pretty much just made up her mind. So he's like, okay, fine. But here's some legal papers. It's a cease and desist. Bottom line is, stay away from my company. Otherwise, I'm going to sit there and wind up suing you. Now, let's sit there and see what she's going to do with that. Is she really willing to risk, legal action just to get back at Tucker, just sit there and try to get this company? Is this revenge really worth it? Now, the question is, how trifling and petty and vindictive is this woman going to be? Now, Diane's had it here. She's had it up to here with Jack. Particularly the whole Nikki thing, right? And the problem with Jack is that Jack knows what he has to do. Well, Jack wants to sit there and try to be Superman. He wants to sit there and try to be there for Nikki, but he also wants to sit there and try to get her to understand that me supporting her is not taking anything away from Ya and the family. It is because Diane is like, you're putting her first. She already had reservations about being her sponsor. She was worried that he was going to lose sobriety. That's exactly what ended up happening. He did it without hesitation. He didn't sit there and think about his family when he did what he did. And then he decides to sit there and be her sponsor still. And, somebody in the chat yesterday pointed out that Nikki still wanted him to be her sponsor. But she didn't want Seth to be her sponsor when he fell off the wagon. Hell, if anything, she was super distant with Seth. So what's the exception with Jack? But anyway, he's not there trying to be there for both. And in the end, and this is like a whole hour, And in the end, he was like, you know what, listen, Nikki's going to have to sit there and find another sponsor. And then that was it. And then they hugged, and now they're back together. And I'm just like, bro, one, you could have saved up a whole lot of time just by basically dropping her as a sponsor. You basically, by being her sponsor, you just sit there saying that, you know what, they're going to be second. And Diane's like, well, what happens if that happens again? Well, it's not. Well, it shouldn't have happened the first time. So don't sit there and tell me that it's not going to happen again, and it already happened once. Anyway, he's like, you know what, listen, she's going to have to find her own sponsor. And this is when she texted him, and she, when the woman has that look on her face, it's game over at that point, okay? It doesn't even require words. It just requires a certain look, okay? Every man knows that look. When a woman gets that look, you know this ish is serious. Um, Now, Summer was very reluctant about letting Claire be with Harris, told them that they couldn't go out, limit this, limit that, blah, 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 blah. And then there was a point, when she's with Kyle, she's like, maybe I should sit there and work from home. Kyle's like, come on, seriously, what are we doing? The whole reason why we have to chick over here, we're paying her, is just where we can go to work. If that was the case, you would just work from home and we wouldn't be having this conversation. So pick your ass up, take your ass out of this damn house. And eventually she finally listened, um, and let her actually be a nanny after asking her and Cynthia saying a bunch of questions. It was like, bro, just go. Just go. Now, also in Paris, you got Tracy and Ashley and all her authors now. And Ashley is super paranoid. She can't sleep. She's worried that one of her alters is going to take over. And I was like, listen, they can take over anyway if you get too tired. So you ain't doing yourself any favors by trying to, this, this is not Freddy Krueger, okay? Like, you go to sleep, no. But there's a point where she, I guess, goes get some sleep or coffee or something, and she overhears Tracy and Alan talking, and then her alters are in her heads and saying, "No, come on, we got to get out of here. Let me take over. Just they're going to sit there and put us in a nut house." She comes back. They try to retrace their steps. Um, this story isn't done really too well. It's just interesting enough where it's like, okay, at least you have these characters do something, right? But what is the payoff besides maybe mean Ashley killing Tucker? Because where did this trauma come from? It can't just be a simple argument, right? This is what Jack and Tucker was meant to talk about as far as trying to retrace the steps to sit there and see where this trauma started. And it damn sure wasn't that argument. That argument might have been a trigger for something else. And I hope whatever it is worth it. It is a good enough payoff because if it's not, well, it'll just be another one of Brad Bell's whatever, I'll do whatever the hell I want and you're either going to watch it or not scenarios. So I guess we'll just wait and see. Anyway, that's pretty much the general, um, this is what happened in general with the Young and the Restless. There might be more. So I always sit there and say, come to the live stream tonight. 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. We'll sit there and talk about all the shows, General House, The Young and the Restless, Bold and the Beautiful, General Hospital, and Days of Our Lives. With that being said, I'm going to go. I will see you in the next video.